Picture this scenario because I guarantee this has happened to at least half the people watching this video. You walk into a dealership, maybe you've been thinking about getting a new car for a while. Maybe your current one is starting to have some issues, and the salesperson greets you with a smile. They ask you one simple question: what monthly payment are you looking for? Not what car do you need, not what's your budget, but what monthly payment. And right there, in that moment, before you even test drive anything, you've already lost the game. Because they didn't ask you about the car, they asked you about cash flow. And that one question is designed to hide the single most expensive financial mistake that average Americans make over and over again for their entire lives. They finance depreciating assets at high interest rates while telling themselves, "You got a good deal because the monthly payment." My name is Mike, and I spend way too much time breaking down the mathematics of wealth and exposing the traps that keep regular people broke while making corporations billions. If you've ever felt like you're working harder than ever, but your bank account stays flat, or if you've ever wondered why you can never seem to get ahead no matter how much you earn, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Because today we're not talking about investing or side hustles. We're talking about the single biggest wealth destroyer sitting in your driveway right now. We're going to break down the new car scam. And I promise you, once you see these numbers, you will never look at a car payment the same way again. Here's the thing about cars that nobody wants to admit, especially not the dealerships, not the banks, and definitely not your neighbor who just pulled up in that brand new luxury SUV. A new car is not an asset. It's a liability that loses value the second you sign the papers. But we've been conditioned by billion-dollar marketing campaigns to see cars as status symbols, as extensions of our identity, as markers of success. We've been trained to feel like we deserve a nice car after working hard all week. And that psychological manipulation is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Let me lay out the math. And I want you to actually pay attention here because this is where most people's financial lives go off the rails. The average price of a new car in America in 2024 is over $48,000. That's not a luxury car. That's the average. That number includes economy sedans, mid-range SUVs, pickup trucks. $48,000 for a metal box with wheels that will lose 20% of its value the moment it leaves the lot. Let that sink in. Before you even make it home, before you've driven 100 miles, you've lost nearly $10,000. That's not depreciation over time. That's instant evaporation of value. It's like setting a pile of cash on fire in the parking lot and then driving away feeling good about your decision. But it gets worse. So much worse. Most people don't pay cash for cars anymore. According to Experian, over 85% of new cars are financed. The average auto loan term is now 68 months. That's nearly 6 years. And the average interest rate for new car loans is hovering around 7% for people with good credit. If your credit is average or poor, you're looking at 10, 12, even 15% interest. Let's do the math on a typical deal. You finance that $48,000 car. Maybe you put down $3,000 because the salesperson told you that's a good down payment. So you're financing $45,000 at 7% over 68 months. Your monthly payment is about $750. That sounds manageable, right? But here's what they don't tell you. Over the life of that loan, you will pay over $51,000 for a car that was worth $48,000 on day one and is probably worth $30,000 by the time you finish paying it off. You paid $51,000 for an asset worth $30,000. That's not a purchase. That's a scam. That's a $21,000 loss disguised as a monthly payment, and we haven't even talked about the other costs yet. Insurance on a new car is significantly higher than insurance on a used car because the replacement value is higher. Registration fees are higher. If you're leasing, which is even worse, you're paying for depreciation you'll never recover. Then there's maintenance, gas, tires, the occasional parking ticket. The average American spends over $10,000 a year on car ownership. That's $10,000 that could be going into investments, into an emergency fund, into actually building wealth. But instead, it's going into a depreciating asset that you're actively making payments on while it loses value now. Here's where the scam gets really insidious. The dealership and the bank don't care about the total cost. They care about one thing. Can you make the monthly payment? Because if they can get you to focus on the monthly number, they can stretch the loan longer. Add in warranties you don't need. Bump the interest rate. And increase the total amount you pay by thousands of dollars. And you won't even notice because you're laser focused on that $750 a month figure. They know that if they asked you, hey, do you want to lose $20,000 over the next 6 years? You'd say, absolutely not. But if they ask, can you afford $750 a month? Your brain does different math. It compares that number to your monthly income and thinks, yeah, I can swing that. And just like that, you've signed up for financial suicide without even realizing it. Let's talk about the psychology behind this because this is important. There's a concept in behavioral economics called mental accounting. It's the idea that we treat money differently depending on how we categorize it. When you think about a $50,000 purchase, your brain freaks out. That's a massive amount of money. But when you think about $750 a month, it feels manageable. It feels like just another bill like your phone or your internet. The dealership knows this. The bank knows this. They've engineered the entire sales process to exploit this cognitive bias. They know that if they can get you thinking in terms of monthly payments, they can sell you almost anything. And here's the social pressure component that makes this even worse. We live in a culture that judges success by visible markers. Nobody sees your retirement account. Nobody sees your emergency fund. But everyone sees your car. When you pull up to work, to your parents' house, to pick up your kids from school, people notice. And we've been conditioned to believe that driving a nice car means you're doing well financially. So people who are drowning in debt, who have no savings, who are one emergency away from financial disaster, are driving around in $60,000 vehicles because they don't want to look poor. They're trading actual wealth for the appearance of wealth. And the system relies on this. The entire auto financing industry is built on the assumption that people will make emotional decisions based on status and pay. Now, let me show you the alternative, the math that dealerships pray you never figure out. Let's say instead of buying that $48,000 new car, you buy a 3-year-old used car for $25,000. You pay cash or you finance a small amount and pay it off aggressively within a year or two. That car has already taken the biggest depreciation hit. The previous owner absorbed that loss. You're buying it at a point where the depreciation curve has flattened out. Over the next 5 years, that car might lose another $10,000 in value, compared to the new car which lost $18,000 in the same period. You just saved $8,000 in depreciation alone. But the real magic happens when you take the difference between what you would have paid for the new car and what you actually paid for the used car, and you invest it. Let's run those numbers. The new car costs you $750 a month in payments. The used car, paid off, costs you maybe $200 a month in insurance and maintenance. That's a $550 a month difference. If you take that $550 every single month and invest it in a basic index fund earning an average of 8% a year, after 6 years, the length of the average car loan, you will have over $50,000. Not $50,000 in car payments made. $50,000 in investments owned. Meanwhile, the person who bought the new car has a car worth maybe $20,000 and no investments. You have a car worth $15,000 and $50,000 in the bank. That's a $45,000 swing in net worth from one decision, from choosing the used car over the new car. And if you keep doing that, if you keep driving used cars and investing the difference for 20 or 30 years, that's the difference between retiring comfortably and working until you're 70. But here's what really makes me angry about this whole system, and I mean genuinely frustrated. The people who can least afford new cars are the ones being targeted the most aggressively. If you walk into a buy here, pay here lot with bad credit, they will sell you a $10,000 car for $20,000 at 18% interest over 5 years. They know you need a car to get to work. They know you don't have other options. And they exploit that desperation. By the time you're done paying, you've spent $30,000 on a car that was worth $10,000 and is now worth $3,000. And if you miss a payment, they repossess it, Keep all the money you've paid and sell it to the next desperate person. It's predatory. It's illegal theft. And it's happening to millions of people every single year. The system is designed to keep you poor. The bank makes money on the interest. The dealership makes money on the sale and the financing kickback. The insurance company makes money on the premiums. And you, the person actually using the car, you're the only one losing money on the deal. You're the product. Your future income is being extracted and transferred to corporations. And you're thanking them for the opportunity because at least you got the car with the heated seats and the backup camera. So, what's the solution? How do you escape the car payment trap? It's not sexy, it's not flashy, but it works. First, if you currently have a car payment, that is your financial emergency. Not the broken dishwasher, not the vacation you want to take, the car payment. That monthly payment is a vampire sucking the life out of your financial future. Pay it off as aggressively as possible. Cut every unnecessary expense. Pick up extra work, sell stuff you don't need, and throw every extra dollar at that loan until it's gone. Second, once the car is paid off, do not, under any circumstances, go buy another new car. Keep driving the paid-off car. Yes, even if it's not perfect. Even if it's not impressive. Even if your coworker just got a new Tesla and you feel a little embarrassed, keep driving it and keep making those car payments to yourself. Take that $750 a month you are sending to the bank and send it to your own savings account, your own investment account. After a year, you'll have $9,000. After 2 years, $18,000. When your current car eventually dies, and you'll have cash to buy your next used car outright. No loan, no interest, no dealership games. Third, change your relationship with cars. A car is a tool, not a status symbol. It gets you from point A to point B, that's it. Nobody actually cares what you drive except you. Your friends aren't thinking about your car. Your family isn't thinking about your car. And the strangers at the stoplight definitely aren't thinking about your car. The only person impressed by your car is the salesperson who sold it to you because they know they just made $3,000 in commission off your insecurity. Here's the hard truth. And I know some of you aren't going to want to hear this. If you're broke, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, if you have no emergency fund and no retirement savings, you cannot afford a car payment. You cannot afford a new car. You cannot afford the luxury trim package. You need to be driving the cheapest reliable car you can find. And you need to be obsessed with paying off any debt you have and building wealth. Because every month you send $750 to a bank for a car, you're choosing to stay broke. You're choosing the illusion of success over actual financial security. And look, I get it. Cars are emotional purchases. We spend a lot of time in them. We want them to be comfortable and safe and nice. I'm not saying you have to drive a falling apart beater forever. What I'm saying is that you need to earn the right to have a nice car by building wealth first. Pay off your debt, build your emergency fund, max out your retirement accounts, and then, if you still want the nicer car, buy it with cash. Buy it when you can afford to lose the money and not feel it. Don't finance your ego. Don't finance your image. Don't trade your future freedom for present comfort. I want to leave you with this thought. The average American will own 9 to 12 cars over their lifetime. If each of those cars is financed with a payment plan that results in a $20,000 loss after interest and depreciation, that's $180,000 to $240,000 in wealth destroyed. That's not counting the opportunity cost of what that money could have become if invested. If you took that same money and invested it over 40 years, you'd have well over $1 million. $1 million. That's the difference between financial independence and working until you die. And it all comes down to this one decision. Are you going to keep buying new cars on payment plans, or are you going to drive used cars and invest the difference? The dealership isn't going to tell you this. The bank isn't going to tell you this. Your coworker with the brand new truck isn't going to tell you this because they don't know it themselves. But now you know. You can't unsee the math. The next time you're tempted to walk into a dealership, the next time someone asks you what monthly payment you're looking for, remember this video. Remember that you're not buying a car. You're choosing between wealth and payments, between freedom and debt, between retiring early and working forever. If this video opened your eyes to the car payment scam, do me a favor and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Share it with your kids, your friends, your family members who are about to make this mistake. We don't talk about this enough. We talk about income and side hustles, but we rarely talk about the expense traps that destroy wealth silently over decades. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep breaking down these financial lies until everyone understands the game. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.